Dennis Prager here. Thanks for listening to the Daily Dennis Prager Podcast. To hear the entire 3 hours of my radio show, commercial-free, every single day, become a member of Pragertopia. You'll also get access to 15 years' worth of archives, as well as the daily show prep. Subscribe at pragertopia.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Prager Show. A good week to you. I hope you had a good weekend. My theory is that a lot of people aren't. There's a terrible statistic up now about how many Americans, a record number of Americans have committed suicide. And as usual, the two major culprits are accessibility of guns and lack of mental health services. It's unbelievable. It is like the Maui fires, this horrible tragedy. Oh, it's clearly climate change and global warming. You don't really have to think. You have pre-digested, pre-manufactured, well, it's redundant, pre-manufactured, but you get my point. Answers to all of these issues. If only there were fewer guns. Like there weren't a lot of guns last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before. That's a prominent reason. Mental health professionals? Yeah, that's it. Maybe the chaos created by the left in the decimation of religion, God, Bible, community, family. Maybe the staggering chaos. You don't even know if you're a boy or a girl, and maybe they are contributing factors. After all, that is the biggest change since 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I will play for you a Joe Biden excerpt from the 1990s. Oh, my God. Where he so vigorously just took for granted, of course marriage is between a man and a woman. Well, what are we talking about? It's not even worth discussing. The chaos that the left has created is, without question in my mind, the greater cause of depression. Girls have been told that they don't have to get married, that they could hook up with guys and enjoy it just as much as guys do. The world of the lie, the make-believe, awful, chaotic world of the left, that might have some role to play in the increased depression in Americans. Might be. Just might be. The data on that are remarkable. Even the New York Times, by the way, on the Maui fires, it's titled, How Invasive Plants Caused the Maui Fires to Rage. No. So wait, the headline isn't how global warming or climate change caused it? When Hawaii's last sugar cane plantation shut down in Maui in 2016, it marked the end of an era when sugar reigned supreme in the archipelago's economy. But the last harvest at the 36,000-acre plantation underscored another pivotal shift: the relentless spread of extremely flammable, non-native grasses on idled lands where cash crops once flourished. Oh. How many Americans think it's global warming? This is the New York Times, which is one of the major factors in global warming. Just a parenthetical note, virtually every major outlet in the country has attacked PragerU in the last few weeks because Florida is allowing teachers to use PragerU videos. The ones that drive them the craziest are where we have serious people saying that climate change may not be the existential threat to the world that the left claims it is. That's basically it. We have Bjorn Lomborg, we have Professor Richard Lindzen, leading climatologist in America. would say certainly for decades, a professor at MIT, but it doesn't matter. If you simply challenge the narrative that global warming caused by carbon emissions is posing an existential threat to humanity, then you are a climate denier. That is the term. There's always a term. Climate denier. You're not following the science. Following the science. Why do I find that coming from anyone on the left a bit precious, shall we say? It's precious. Did they follow the science on lockdowns, on masks, on vaccinations, on depriving children of the ability to go to school, to see adults or others' faces? How about on ivermectin? Remember that? It was a horse dewormer. Any doctor who recommended it should have his license challenged, if not revoked. And now we have articles, really, it's not that problematic, ivermectin. Yeah, I'll bring that to you a little later. Follow the science. If anybody shouldn't be saying follow the science, it's the left. Do they follow the science on sex? You can't become the other sex. They know it, so they've made up a new term, gender. Yeah, it's true, you can't change your sex, but you can change your gender. And then they make up a term for gender, a definition for gender. Whatever you think you are. There you go. Or think you're not. They follow the science? Really? Varieties like guinea grass, molasses grass, and buffalo grass. You did, I think, your master's on buffalo grass.
Yeah, I did.
I knew I recognized the term.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
You were mesmerized?
I wrote the whole thing really over a weekend.
You wrote it over a weekend.
Because I couldn't,
buffalo grass.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't help myself.
I never thought I would see it in print. I mean, I don't mean your thesis.
Yeah.
I don't think we will see it in print, but just the term, which originated in Africa and were introduced to Hawaii as livestock forage, now occupy nearly a quarter of Hawaii's landmass. Oh, so far in the entire New York Times article, not a word about climate change. Fast-growing when it rains and drought-resistant when lands are parched, such grasses are fueling wildlife across Hawaii, including the blaze that claimed at least 93 lives in Maui last week. These grasses are highly aggressive, grow very fast, and are highly flammable, said Melissa Chimera, whose grandmother lived on the Hawaiian Commercial and Sugar Company's plantation in Maui. That's a recipe for fires that are a lot larger and a lot more destructive. All right. How many people know that? Investigators are still scouring for clues as to what ignited the Maui blaze, which became the deadliest American wildfire in more than a century. By the way, whenever you hear that, it's the hottest day in 200 years or 80 years, or the biggest fire in a century. That means a century ago there was a bigger fire. Maybe these things aren't always caused by climate change, right? If America had a bigger fire 100 years ago when people were not emitting carbon dioxide, well then. But, okay, all right, they finally get to it in this paragraph. But as the planet heats up, it is becoming apparent that even a tropical place such as Hawaii, known for its jungle-like rainforests and verdant hills, is increasingly susceptible to wildfires. Whatever it is an astonishing tragedy. How many people are still missing? Over 1,000?
Something like that.
I mean, whenever you hear missing in these matters, it's a very, very bad sign. That's why one of my mottos in life is, if nothing's horrific, life is terrific. Oh, just about every day I think, wow, nothing terrible's happened in my life. I am one lucky dude. It's a good attitude to have. We continue on the Dennis Prager Show.
If nothing's horrific, then life is terrific.
Gold dealers are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. What sets these companies apart, and whom can you really trust? This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion, my choice for buying precious metals. When you buy precious metals, it's imperative that you buy from a trustworthy and transparent dealer that protects your best interests. So many companies use gimmicks to take advantage of inexperienced gold and silver buyers. Be cautious of brokers offering free gold and silver, or brokers that want to sell you overpriced collectible coins, claiming they appreciate more than gold and silver. What about hidden commissions and huge markups? Nick Grovich and his team at AmFed always have your back. I trust this man. That's why I mention him by name. Nick's been in this industry over 42 years, and he's proud of providing transparency and fair pricing to build trusted relationships. If you're interested in buying or selling, call Nick Grovich and his team at AmFed Coin and Bullion, 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
My friend, I call on you, my friend.
Wow, there is so much, my friends. Virtually every, as I said earlier, virtually every major outlet has attacked PragerU in the last month. I distracted him because he was so excited to hear that Bufflegrass has made the news. Why are you laughing, Sean? Do you not know Alan's background in academic life? All right, let's see. Where do I start? Oh, you want to know the word? This is the best. Do we have the in the things you sent me last night? Was the Wall Street? Is the Washington Post piece in there? Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of pieces here. I want to. This is going to crack you up, folks. So the Washington Post had a column. You have to understand, Florida has announced that kids don't have to watch, can watch PragerU videos in classrooms. It's about as wholesome a group of videos as exists in the United States today. I mean, truly wholesome. But we are conservative and therefore evil. So Kathleen Parker is a columnist for the Washington Post. So she wrote a piece, and it's mostly about this. So here is this. Here. Florida's new curriculum is a product of the Prager University Foundation, a conservative nonprofit that aims to present capital T, capital O, capital S, the other side on hot-button issues. PragerU, as it is known, has produced videos on a variety of subjects, including climate change, for kiddies as well as adults. By the way, we have 600 5-minute videos. What do you think? What number of them do you think are on climate change? 10?
No, there's more than that.
More, 20?
Yeah.
Okay, 20. So what is 20 over 600? Well, 1/10 is 200, right?
No.
Yeah, 1/10 of 200 is 20.
Oh,
yes. So 1/10 of 600 is 60. But this is 20. This is 1/3 of 1/10. So 3%. 97% of our videos have nothing to do with climate change. So it's a little distorting to say that it's produced video, it's out of including climate change. But it's true, it's correct, but it gives people a slightly skewed impression. All right. Anyway, there will soon be optional content in civic studies for the K-5 set. All right. Let's see. In previous incarnations, I've been a fan of Prager and its co-founder, Dennis Prager, who is not a right-wing nut, but a thoughtful conservative who believes the country is going to hell. I happen to agree with him on this point. Okay, this shook me up. Well, it didn't shake me up. This shocked me. Somebody at the Washington Post had something positive to say about me and PragerU. Wow. You know what a compliment it is for the Washington Post to say I am not a right-wing nut, but a thoughtful conservative. Do you know, for example, there isn't a single attack on me or PragerU that mentions that I am the author of a scholarly, extremely popular Bible commentary. The 4th volume is coming out next year. They don't mention that. In fact, they don't mention any of my 10 books. They don't mention the fact that I did graduate work at Columbia University in international affairs, specializing in communism. In other words, nothing that would shatter the belief that they want to have that I am a right-wing nut. By the way, is anyone on the right wing not a nut? So, of course, my favorite thing is to look at comments. How many comments did this piece get from Kathleen Parker? Let's see. 1,813. Do you realize? Isn't that incredible? Yeah. 1,800 comments on a description mostly of a PragerU or me. And they, you know what one of the major themes of the commenters were? She out of her mind. Of course, Prager is a right-wing nut. That was it. Most of it. That disqualified her immediately, saying that she had respected me, or does respect me, as a serious thinker. As if any one of these people has ever read anything that I have written, or watched any of my lectures on YouTube. The ability to dismiss people without knowing anything about them has become an art form in the United States of America. There is no such thing as serious confrontation with ideas on the left. You smear. End of issue. There are people on the right who do this too. Even to me. But it is certainly the modus operandi of the left. I also think we shouldn't terrify little children with frightening information about climate change that they're not emotionally or intellectually equipped to handle. Well, there's an area, again, she agrees with us. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't frighten children. You don't have a future. Maybe that's playing a role in the highest number of suicides in American history. On MyPillow's 20-year anniversary with over 80 million MyPillows sold, Mike Lindell at MyPillow wants to thank each and every one of you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. You'll receive a queen-size MyPillow for $19.98. Regular price is $69.98 and just $10 more for a king size. You'll receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products, such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, My Slippers, and so much more. This is the time to try out some of their other amazing products you had your eyes on. Go to MyPillow.com and click on the radio/podcast square and use promo code Prager to receive this amazing offer on the queen-size MyPillow for $19.98 or call 800-761-6302. This offer comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. It's time to start getting the quality sleep you deserve. So go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Prager or call 800-761-6302 today. Dennis Prager here. So the Washington Post columnist said something positive about me, that I'm a serious thinker and not a right-wing nut. 1,800 responses, not all about that, but I would say about a third were about that. I am a right-wing As one commenter put it, thoughtful can never be attached to conservative. It gives you an idea of the divide in the country that is unbridgeable, because I don't think thoughtful can be applied to leftist. It could be applied to liberal or to conservative, but it can't be applied to leftist. You really believe girls should determine whether their breasts are cut off at the age of 18 or 17 or whatever age because they say they're boys? Did you send me the Skittles thing? Skittles?
Yeah.
Where is that? On IM?
Yeah.
My friends, we have to fight. It's the most painless way you can fight and help the country. Do a Bud Light on various companies. So I don't see it on IM as it happens.
Right again right now.
Yeah. So Skittles apparently.
Try now.
Yeah, now it's up. Skittles blasted over, where is this from? New York Post. Skittles blasted over new pro-LGBTQ packaging. Time to Bud Light them. This is quite something. So let me see. What is the what are these packages here? Let's see. Love. Share size. What is this? Let me see. So here's one. Lesbian, queer, trans, gay. The sun's rays on a Skittles. Wow, all the pride colors. Big pride Skittles. LGBTQ, queer, trans, gay. Okay, and what's the next one? Joy is resistance. Black trans lives matter. That's on the wrapper of Skittles bite-sized candies. I mean, they've really gone whole hog. Do you see how many wrappers there are?
Yeah.
Here's one with a pink series of houses. Be generous with your love. Well, I don't know who they have hugging there. Be generous with your love. Can't fight that one. So this is what Skittles is now doing. Skittles is getting pushback from conservatives who have soured on the popular candy's new woke pro-LGBTQ packaging. Oh boy. Wow, Skittles has gone completely woke. So the least you can do is not patronize Disney and these other companies that I bring to your attention now, Skittles. There are always options. Nike fosters contempt for America in a very deep way. Then people forget about it. So you should just know about it. The latest, oh yeah, Ben and Jerry. What was Ben and Jerry's latest? They have two groups they hate: America and Israel. Yeah. A lot of good ice creams out there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't deny Ben and Jerry's is yummy. Somehow, I think that in the annals of fighting for liberty and America, giving up an ice cream for another ice cream should not be considered a particularly difficult thing to do. Well, the fight goes on, and I totally get it. I totally get it. You don't want to fight. You want to spend time with loved ones and tune out, enjoy your hobbies. I get it. But that is not the way you want to live a life if you're a good person. Good people fight. Or as it says in the Bible, those of you who love God, must hate evil. We return.
The Dennis Prager Show.
1-8-PRAGER-776, by the way, is the phone number to reach me. So here is a piece. You have, as I said, virtually every major media outlet has devoted a big article attacking PragerU because Florida is allowing PragerU videos. I remind you, by the way, if you want to join the fight, August is fundraising month for Prager University. You know, they all mention we're a not accredited university. We say that on the very opening page of the PragerU.com website.
It's on every page.
It's on every page, thank you. Every page. So therefore what? You can only learn about life from accredited universities? There's no other source of knowledge or insight or wisdom available to us? Anyway, please donate. Everything we do is free. And there's no thing in life like fighting for the good. So if you help us, you're fighting for the good. PragerU.com or call 833-PragerU. Of course, it's tax deductible. It's a nonprofit organization. Sean has interrupted the show again with a question. Are you saying I'm not going to get my degree? You were under the impression you'll get a degree from PragerU. I will give you a degree. The third degree. Unaccredited conservative nonprofit PragerU now has Florida's blessing to teach kids a biased curriculum. You have to understand, this is a news piece in the largest newspaper in Oregon, the Oregonian. Unaccredited conservative nonprofit PragerU now has Florida's blessing to teach kids a biased curriculum. So here is, this is precious beyond words. It's the second time I've used precious today. Here's a taste of what some videos show. So you'll understand now, this is what ticks off the left about our videos. One video called How to Embrace Your Femininity tells girls to try smiling more because it's one of the most beautiful things God created. What's wrong with that? I'll tell you, you can write a thesis on the 4 examples that the Oregonian gives with regard to PragerU horrible videos. The idiocy of PragerU to tell girls smile more because it's one of the most beautiful things God created. You know why they hate it? Remember my riddle? What do you call a happy black American? A conservative. What do you call a happy black girl? Non-woke. Non-leftist. That's right. The highest depression rates in American history among young women, overwhelmingly caused by left-wing ideology taking over their lives. Crapping on their femininity. You're just like a boy. You could enjoy hookup sex just like boys and men do. Yeah. And not only that, any man can say he's a woman and then compete with you in female sports. That'll make girls happy, won't it? So they're angry at us that in a video, by the way, we have a video on how to embrace your masculinity. It's amazing that they didn't, well, I guess because I think it's a female who wrote this piece. What else do we tell young women? To embrace taking on the role of a wife and mother and not to show anger. The audacity of PragerU. Embrace being a wife and mother and don't show anger. Wow. I'd like to see, by the way, I would like to see the words we use in the video. I haven't memorized 600 videos. But I would like to see what we say about anger. Maybe don't be quick to get angry. Sounds more logical, but it doesn't matter. Do you realize that? So the Oregonian, which exemplifies Portland and the left of one of the most left-wing states of the country, they have contempt for PragerU because it tells girls to embrace taking on the role of a wife and mother. So when we say that the left attacks the nuclear family, we don't make it up. They have contempt for the nuclear family ideal. They don't have contempt for the family. They have contempt for the family ideal. It's a big difference. Anybody who says this is the ideal, a man married to a woman and raising children, they are engaged in heteronormative bias. What's another example? Let's see. Another video shows Frederick Douglass taking a dig at the Black Lives Matter movement while justifying the existence of slavery and calling the Founding Fathers abolitionists. Again, I don't know the video by heart. We have Leela and Layla, two kids who go back in time. So they met Frederick Douglass, and he takes a dig at the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, imagine that. Why would a black hero think ill of the Black Lives Matter movement? Because it's utterly corrupt, and it hates whites, and it hates America. Those are three possible reasons. The Oregonian loves the Black Lives Matter movement. Justifying the existence of slavery. I watched it. I don't remember every word. He did not justify the existence of slavery. What he said was that the founders understood that if they abolished slavery in the Constitution, there would be no United States of America. Southern states would secede. Back in a moment. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Prager Show. I hope you had a good weekend. In case you missed the first hour, I just want to remind you the New York Times itself has acknowledged that the existence of vast new amounts of wild grasses imported into Hawaii that are extremely flammable is a major reason for the horrible fire or fires in Maui. But of course, by the fourth paragraph, they had to bring in global warming. Worst fire in 100 years. But whenever you read that statistic, worst this or lowest or highest, why did it exist 100 years ago? Was there a worst fire in America 100 years ago when there wasn't global warming? There weren't carbon emissions. How many years can they scare people into destroying the Western world's economy, which is what it is about? I know it is about that because there is actually a growing movement. What is it called? No growth? Is that what it is? The no growth movement? I watched their convention in Europe. It was very scary. All young people, virtually all white. The role of white leftists is the biggest role of all in the attack on what is beautiful in America. So here is an example. Probably don't know this story, but this is up at Fox News. Native American group calls on commanders to rename the team Redskins. Cannot erase history. I was adamant that the Washington Redskins stay the Washington Redskins. I won't even say Washington Commanders. I'll go back to once called the Washington Redskins or Washington Football Team. There's nothing wrong in Redskins. generally speaking, like in Cleveland Indians, didn't they change their name too? Yeah, the Indians. What are the Indians now? Guardians, and the others are commanders.
Yeah.
Are those names given for those suffering insomnia? Let's root for the commanders. The commanders. What is the word for a
Guardians is worse.
guardian? You think Guardians is worse? I think they're tied.
Okay. I'll go for that.
So wait a minute. Let's see. So you could actually now have, right? You could have a Commanders Guardians game. Oh no, it's two different sports. Yeah, okay, right. I'm sorry. So it's the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
Does anyone in Cleveland say that? I'm a Guardians fan. Hey, call me up in Cleveland. I'm very curious. Does anybody actually say with gusto, I'm a Guardians fan? Does anybody get Guardians uniforms? What's the hat now? I guess it's a C, right? What does the Cleveland Guardian hat look like? Take a look. I'm very curious. I don't believe you. No, they don't have a big G. You're kidding. A big G? Sean, if you're fooling, you violated a major rule of the show. Oh, there is a big G? I gotta look at that. Does it stand for gosh? Gosh darn it. A Native American group has put the rush on against the Washington Commanders and demanded the organization revert its name to Redskins, the name the team adopted when it was in Boston in 1933. So it had that name from 1933 to 2020. The Native American Guardian Association, NAGA, has encouraged fans to sign a petition. I'd just like to know how many Native Americans are in that organization. It seems to be a legit story, but the reason that I believe it might be legit is that the Washington Post, which was the biggest advocate of the Redskins changing their name, they, to their credit, did a very, very systematic poll of American Indians, of Native Americans, and found that the great majority of them didn't care about the name Redskins. It was white leftists, like the Washington Post. It's leftists, not Native Americans, who objected to Redskins and Indians. There is so much importance I attach to this. It is not insignificant. It is very significant. For one thing, it proves a thesis of mine. There is so little bigotry and prejudice on the part of the majority of Americans that the left has to look for it. That's why there are so many race hoaxes. They have to create hoaxes because, in fact, there is so little anti-black racism in the country. This is all make-believe leftist stuff. There is nothing racist or disparaging in Redskins. Nothing. Or in Indians. How could Indians be disparaging? I'm amazed. How do they let the Kansas City Chiefs keep their name? The Atlanta Braves. I mean, the Golden State Warriors. Do you not realize? Oh, by the way, what is it? Which Florida team is the Seminoles? Is it Florida State? The Seminoles said keep it. It was white leftists who were opposed to Seminoles. You're honored when you are the name of a team. You're honored. Is that not obvious? The New England Patriots. Now, generally, New England doesn't give a damn about patriotism, but still, they have that name. They're honoring patriots. That's the way it works. Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Yeah, well, what if you're not Irish and you're on the team? Are you being discriminated against? The preoccupation with trivia proves how good America has been. It's fading, but it has been a good country. A good country with a fair number of bad people in it. Because there are a lot of bad people on planet Earth. God will have to sort that one out. But basically, it's been a good country. Remember, what was bad in America was universal. What was unique about America, what was good about America was unique. Therefore, you ask, why was it unique in certain ways? If it's uniquely bad or uniquely good. Well, let's see. The group has more than 80,000 people signing the petition. We invite all Americans to stand up for the dignity of every American under assault in today's increasingly nonsensical culture wars. This line in the sand moment reinforces undeniable history of the Native American assisting the founding of America with Native American principles used by the founding fathers in the U.S. Constitution and every American right to the First and 14th Amendment, and not every American's right to the First and 14th Amendment, and not to be targets of cancel culture or ESG. This is not a simple left or right issue for Americans. It reaches across the political spectrum, dating back to our founding fathers. Well, I hope you'll sign the petition. We'll be back. We're hearing from some folks in Cleveland. I'm very curious. Malcolm in Cleveland, hello.
Hello, Mr. Prager. It's an honor to speak to you. You are perhaps my favorite person I've never met. So if we do meet, then you'll...
Yeah.
Well, if we do meet, you'll drop down a few notches, because then you're in the running with, like, my wife and my 17-month-old and my mom and all. But
wow.
As of now, you're my favorite person I've never met. Thank
you.
In any case, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Lived 14 years in the Netherlands, but I've been to 850 Cleveland Indians games in my life.
Wow. Wait a minute. How is that possible? Because they only play, 6 or 8 at home a year?
No, that's for baseball. They play 81 at home.
You're. I'm sorry, I'm confusing it. You're right with the NFL. Okay, I still don't think of the command. I don't think of it as a name. Okay, so you've attended 800 Indians games. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, when I visited Cleveland, when I lived in the Netherlands, basically every evening I spent out in the stadium that I could. But when I was a teenager, I worked on the Pine Ridge Reservation to help Lakota Indian kids. And I asked a preacher, Reverend Daniel Makesgood, he's since passed away a long time ago, said, what do you prefer, American Indian, Native American? And he said, I went to sleep one day, I was called an Indian. I woke up the next morning, I was called a Native American. And the people who changed my name don't care about feeding my people, so I don't care what they call me. Mm-hmm. And that put everything into perspective, that all the people fighting against a team name, they're not caring about the actual people who are hungry, who don't have heating oil in the winter. They're these armchair activists who just sit back, they repost something on Facebook, and they act like they're making a difference. And meanwhile, they take all the attention
let me ask you about your fandom. So, do you still go to the games?
I have not gone to since the new team came. I actually call them the custodial caregivers instead of the guardians because I don't want to give them enough credence to give them the respect
Has
of whatever
it
the name.
hurt support for the team?
This season, they're basically giving ticket packages away for a song, so their attendance has been up a little bit. Last year, when it just started, their attendance was way down. But it's nowhere. I don't think it's anywhere near where Cleveland Indians the amount of.
Does anybody buy Commanders merchandise?
This is the Guardians. Yeah, you see some
Guardians.
of it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you see some of it, but apparently, even at the stadium, people are still mostly wearing old Cleveland Indians stuff and haven't really bought it.
Can one buy a Cleveland Indians hat?
I mean, you can find it on eBay and whatever was left over.
No,
I'm sure
really? Nobody's manufacturing it?
I don't know if they can because it's all MLB licensed. I think it's all licensed by the MLB, by Major League Baseball.
Wait, a company?
No, you have
Oh, why? Because wait, I want to understand this. Major League Baseball owns that hat.
Yes.
So if the hat is no longer of a team, it is illegal to make it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just like they couldn't make Washington Senators hats without the permission of Major League Baseball and the Houston Astros. That was where that
So
started.
you can only buy basically used hats on the internet.
Yeah, or whatever was left over, or the Chinese, knockoffs. Just someone makes it unlicensed.
That is fascinating. So I never thought of this quite this way. A company can ban the making of a product that it made for a century.
Yes, because they have the rights to it. Still, they still hold on to the rights, the trademarks, and everything. Yeah. My bigger point is just
is anybody being mugged on the way into the stadium for their hat?
No, I did give a hat to a friend of mine in New York who he's actually half American Indian, and people tried to call him racist, and he said, "Which half of me am I racist against?"
Yeah, well, I'm with you and your friend. I'm glad you called. I hope we meet one day. This was news to me. You cannot manufacture a Cleveland Indians hat. Or uniform, obviously.
Not legally.
Not legally. That means you cannot. Whatever the left touches, it destroys. Just remember that. Another Cleveland call from Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Dennis. Pleasure, privilege to speak with you.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to let you know that among myself and my buddies, we all call that team the Cleveland Cowards, since they were unable to stand up to the left.
So that's what the C stands for. I didn't know. I thought it was Cleveland.
However,
yeah.
My children are thrilled about the change because a couple of years ago when this change was going down, I happened to be at a charitable fundraiser where the door prize was a collection of Cleveland Indians paraphernalia, the hat, the T-shirt, the jacket, pennants. And so when the name change occurred, I sealed it all in plastic. So it's now the most valuable thing that will pass through my estate to my children.
That's exactly right. I'm laughing, but it's really worthy of tears. These people, the soulless, fill their empty souls with empty projects. Abolishing Cleveland Redskins and Cleveland Indians were two examples. The names hurt no one. West Los Angeles, Chip, hello.
Hi there. It just burns me up, this whole thing with the name, and I suggest it's not the name the leftists are upset with, it's the logo. What I imagined, and this is my fantasy of things, that the Washington ownership should have said, we are now no longer going to honor the American Indian. We are now going to honor the food staple of the world, the potato. We're going to put the potato on our helmets. We're going to honor...
Okay. I wish I could continue. We'll be back. I would love to continue on the Cleveland Indians stuff, but there's too much to talk to you about. I just want to remind you that there is an organization that I've read about of Native American activists that want the Redskins name back on the Washington team. This was all a leftist thing. It had nothing to do with Native Americans. The left doesn't care about blacks or women or Native Americans or any other group in whose name it speaks. It cares about destroying Western civilization. The day you come to that realization is the day everything will be clear. Jesse Jackson marched in the 80s, I think it was, at Stanford University, chanting, "Hey, hey, ho, ho, Western Civ has got to go," and that is what they want. They're all nothings who hate some things. Their empty lives are devoted to destruction. This is the Russian Revolution being relived, the French Revolution being relived. All they knew how to do was tear down. When I advocated that people try ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine with zinc, I was roundly denounced as a crackpot. As a crackpot for saying that in April of 2021, you can see it on the internet, for saying that the lockdowns were the greatest international mistake in history. I didn't take the vaccine. I did take ivermectin. I did take hydroxychloroquine with zinc. My health is just the same as it was before the epidemic. Not everybody who got vaccinated can say that, unfortunately. I got very mild bouts of COVID twice. Traveled to Europe in 2022, right? 2021, it was the only year I didn't go abroad since I was 18. Why do I bring this up? The FDA is being sued by doctors for its attack on doctors using ivermectin, which the sheep of the media, Washington Post, New York Times, the rest, all declared was a horse dewormer, mocking any of us who advocated it. There's a man who regularly called my show, said he was a doctor. Was he in Tampa? Yeah, was that it? Who called Dr. Zelenko, may he rest in peace, died of cancer, had nothing to do with COVID. A quack for advocating ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and zinc. What do I know? I'm not a doctor. Why would I even tell people that I take ivermectin? Because I read more than that doctor did about the subject. It is a painful fact that I knew more about treating COVID than most doctors. I am not proud of it. I am ashamed of American medicine that is true. That is how uncurious most American physicians were during COVID about how to treat it. So now the FDA, because it's run by leftists and truth is not a left-wing value, is denying that it ever spoke out against doctors who prescribed ivermectin. By the way, it was not easy to get. Drugstores were told, I think for the first time in American history, not to listen to doctors. And therefore, unless the doctor had a reason given to the drugstore, they wouldn't prescribe hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. The FDA is claiming in federal court that it never told doctors not to prescribe ivermectin to treat COVID-19. They lie with the ease with which you breathe because, please understand this, truth is not a left-wing value, it is a conservative value, and it is a liberal value. Hey everybody, Dennis Prager here. On a semi-personal note, the PragerU video that is up this week is given by me. I give only 1/10 of all the 600 videos, but 1/10 is a lot. But 90% are given by other people. But about 4 times a year, a video from me goes up, a 5-minute one. They're all highly professionally produced. This one is on the death of my beloved bulldog, Otto. I think you'll find it fascinating. The human-dog relationship, etc. So, it's at PragerU.com. Just thought you'd find it of interest. It's completely non-political. Most of my videos are not political. I was reading to you. It's really something. It should be very, very widely reported. The FDA is being sued by doctors because it ran such a campaign against ivermectin, the use of ivermectin, one of the safest drugs in the world, according to the World Health Organization. Many doctors, certainly a minority, but many doctors believed that it could help lessen the symptoms of COVID if you got it, and they wanted people to use it. I used it for 6 months. I did get COVID. My 2 COVID-I were so mild, I actually broadcasted my show while I had COVID, not from the studio, from my home. I didn't want to kill Sean McConnell. Did you know that, Sean? You realize I saved your life by not coming in when I had COVID. Yep. How many people can say that? They saved somebody's life. Of course, I want you to know if Sean had COVID, I would more than welcome his presence in my presence. I was much more scared of the left than of COVID, and still am. They are the threat to the world I know, not a virus. Not that virus, anyway. So they're denying that, the FDA is denying that they threatened doctors who prescribed ivermectin. Hey, we didn't say anything. It was just quips. That's what they're saying in court. This is good that they're being sued. Really, really good. There are doctors who were kicked out of their hospitals because they prescribed ivermectin, or they wouldn't advocate that children get the vaccination. In Denmark, what was Denmark? If you were under 50, they didn't want you to have the vaccination. So those of you who blithely mouth the leftist incantation, follow the science, which they rarely do. They follow the science when they mean follow left-wing scientists. That's what they mean. They don't mean follow the science. If they followed the science, they would be for nuclear power. But they're not, because their agenda with regard to global warming is to destroy society as we know it, not to affect the climate. You could affect the climate with clean energy from nuclear power and end the issue. But they don't want the issue ended. So, same with COVID. I was not the only one, but I was somewhat alone in my massive opposition to vaccinating everybody. Especially children, masking. I remember asking, why is my restaurant closed? I fly almost every week, and I can take my mask off inches from another person. In a restaurant, I am feet from another person. So why can I eat on an airplane without a mask, but not in a restaurant without a mask? I remember asking that. Oh, it shook me up. The sheep-like behavior of most Americans, the sheep-like behavior of most rabbis, priests, and ministers, the sheep-like behavior of most churches and synagogues, the sheep-like behavior, they were worse actually. Teachers were shepherds. They weren't sheep. Wow. You know why it's angering too? Because people forget. They just forget. It's like ancient history, how teachers ruined children's lives, how teachers' unions were clearly the enemy of children. Enemy. E-N-E-M-Y. Enemy. What is the woman, the one who says she's a lesbian Marxist? What is she the head of?
The American Library.
Oh, American Library Association. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's her self-definition, lesbian Marxist. Maybe Marxist lesbian. I'm not sure which came first. Senator Ron Johnson, one of the few great senators we have, but he is great. Doctors who had the courage and compassion to treat COVID patients believe hundreds of thousands of Americans died needlessly. Woo. Because the FDA sabotaged the use of cheap, safe, and effective generic drugs. Wow. Let's see when he said this, because you realize what he's saying? The FDA is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans? Yeah, he just said this, August 11th. Senator Ron Johnson. Awesome. Doctors who had the courage and compassion to treat COVID patients believe hundreds of thousands of Americans died needlessly because the U.S. FDA sabotaged the use of cheap, safe, and effective generic drugs. Now the FDA quietly approves ivermectin's use. What's going on? A tweet from Senator Johnson on August 11th. Well, do we have time? What's our story, Sean McConnell? Good. Let's play. I was misled inadvertently. It was not from the 1990s. This is from 2006. This is then Senator Joe Biden on Meet the Press, 2006, 17 years ago.
You know, think about this. The world's going to Hades in a handbasket. We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
I believe that he believes in nothing. I believe he's a bad human being. I believe he's a pathological liar. I believe that he will say anything to fill the emptiness that is in him. 2006, who's for same-sex marriage? Well, what are we talking about here? But there was a giveaway. The man is a hypochondriac. I knew it when he was vice president. Remember, he said he would not go on any airplane now? And I said, wow, what a leader. I attacked him at the time.
I wouldn't go anywhere in confined places now.
Swine flu. What year was that? Do you know? We have the year of that statement. That's the reason we have it recorded, because I've used it so much. 09. But this was avian flu. Notice that he talked about that? Got to push for vaccinations. Yeah, that's right. Wow. If you find good, courageous people, keep them in your life. They're not common. Hey, everybody. Story in the New York Post. Parents raise concerns after trans athlete allegedly deals girls welts, bruises during practice. A group of Wisconsin parents are outraged over what could potentially be a transgender athlete. Isn't that interesting? They don't know. They don't know if this athlete is transgender. That makes little sense. Is the transgender not changing in the locker room? After participating in a girls' sport at an area school, according to Fox 11 in Green Bay, Wisconsin, parents said their daughter started coming home from summer games and practices. I assume that this is volleyball. But if you're hit by a ball hard, that's presumably what it is. With welts and bruises that they never noticed on their children before. Though they declined to specify which sport and which school is involved. See, this is an example. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and I don't know all the facts. But based on what I read, if people don't fight, don't complain. You don't fight, don't complain. You won't mention the sport or the school, then why should we take what you say seriously? My daughter is at this school playing this sport and getting hurt. What prevents them from saying it? That the schools will take it out on the daughter? Then take your girl out of that school. Then they win. The thugs win. The school in focus belongs to the Green Bay Area Public School District. Fox 11 spoke to 3 sets of parents. Each cited concerns over fairness and safety, particularly when it comes to biological males participating against or with biological women. They're just not used to the ball coming at them that hard, one parent, Ryan Gusick, said. A lot of these girls are specifically quitting this team because they're concerned for their safety. Wait, they're quitting the team and you still won't mention the school or the sport? Do you have any explanation in your mind? Why not? My daughter quit the team, so she can't be kicked off the team for doing anything. She quit. What are they scared of? They won't be popular? Heather Longley, a concerned mom, told the outlet that the student under scrutiny has the most power out of all the members of the team. Longley said she isn't opposed to trans students having a seat at the table. What the hell does that mean? Do you know? It shows you the stranglehold the left has on people. They're so afraid of the left. It's like the mafia. You're just afraid to confront it. But added that the seat doesn't need to be at the girls' table, particularly referencing biological males transitioning to female. Parents involved in the story said the daughters will not participate in the sport this fall. All right. That's good. That's good news. That's what we needed in the University of Pennsylvania. with that narcissist Leah Thomas. We're not swimming. University of Pennsylvania, we're not swimming. Leah Thomas can swim alone. That's what should have been done. The district provided the following statement to Fox 11. The district cares about the well-being of every student. All decisions regarding a student's ability to participate in co-curricular athletics and activities are made in accordance with the Title IX law, board policy, and Wisconsin interscholastic athletic regulations. That is one strong statement. Fox News also reached out to the Green Bay Area Public School District for comment and was directed to the previous statement. Okay, there you go. I think the left has bitten off more than it could chew for the first time. I think the transgender issue has really alienated a lot of people who they used to count on as allies. In this city where I'm broadcasting from in California is the largest concentration of Armenians outside of Armenia. They had a massive demonstration. What was it against? The trans policies? I think it was. Do you remember? The Armenian big demonstration here. Yeah. I don't know how Armenians tend to vote, but whatever it is, they really came out strong. As anybody should. I talked to you about Skittles. You should not be buying Skittles. I see one of the Skittles wrappers, and I mentioned it earlier. It has the sun. It's just one of these cartoon-like drawings. The rays of the sun say lesbian, queer, trans, gay, and a big pride, Pride. Skittles share size. Or how about this? Black Trans Lives Matter, another wrapper. Just what your kids wanted to have with their Skittles. Hey, Mom, what's a black trans life? Black Trans Lives Matter, wow. It's certainly true. Black trans lives do matter. But I would argue that Asian trans lives matter, and a lot of others. And this is not the subject for a candy wrapper. Back in a moment. August is fundraising month for PragerU. And that's because so picked it because my birthday is in August. It's past the first week of August. And we're making a lot of noise, apparently, because Florida has announced that it will allow PragerU videos to be shown in classrooms. It's not mandated, you just can. And the Washington Post and virtually every other major source, NPR, has attacked the Miami Herald, attacked PragerU. They all write basically the same stuff. Much of it is either distorted or simply not true. I speak to some young person affiliated with PragerU almost every day in August. Today is no exception. Aldo Buttazzoni is a PragerU personality, host of The Man on the Street. Hi there. Hi there, Aldo.
Hey, how are you, Dennis?
Good, good. I think Aldo's coming in very, very loud there, Sean. Okay, you're looking good, Aldo.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, are the folks at PragerU aware of how much attention Florida using us taken place?
Absolutely. We see it every day. Ever since this news has been announced, the left has been on a tirade. They are outraged that pro-America content is finally in Florida curriculum. And I think they're worried about this content being spread to other classrooms across the country. Because as we know, the left is doing their best job, and they're mostly been successful at injecting leftist propaganda and anti-American propaganda into the education system. So this is the first step of us fighting back against that.
Exactly. So what is the morale like at PragerU? You're there, I assume, almost every day.
Yes, every day. I got to say, it couldn't be any higher, because we know when the left gets worried about something, it's because we know we're being effective. And so when they're getting mad, it only lets us know that we are doing our job, and that they are worried, and then they're on the back foot now.
Aldo, how old are you?
I'm 23.
23. So how did you discover PragerU?
Well, I've been watching PragerU content ever since I was in high school, so it's kind of come full circle to me. But what PragerU really did for me, I grew up in a Catholic Italian household. I've always been conservative. I've always lived the conservative values. Grew up in a nuclear family, went to church every Sunday. But where PragerU was really effective and really beneficial to me was in helping me articulate my values, because I didn't have the ammunition to fight for my values until I started watching PragerU videos. And when I got into college at Michigan State University, that's when I first really saw the propaganda in my classrooms, professors lecturing me. And so I needed that ammunition, like I said, and PragerU gave me that. So it was really beneficial to me. And PragerU found me. Then I started doing independent journalism and reporting in Texas. I broke the Dallas family-friendly drag show, started traveling the country, recording with my iPhone all the craziness that we're seeing, and PragerU found me through that. And I was the only guy crazy enough, Dennis, to go from Texas to California, because at the time everybody was
they probably the moving company probably paid you so that you would bring the truck back.
My U-Haul to Texas to California was like $500. I did the math going back. If I was doing the same trip at California to Texas, it was like $2,500.
Exactly.
So I did him a big favor there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We need our trucks. They're all going out of California. That's exactly right. So you're now doing man on the street work, what Will Witt used to do, correct?
Exactly.
Well, we're lucky we found you, and I know you feel lucky you found us. So it's a wonderful thing together. Before anything else, you mentioned you're Catholic. Are you aware of what the Dodgers did in honoring, not allowing to perform, just honoring Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence?
Unfortunately, yes. And not only honoring them, but when there was first backlash, they issued an apology to the Catholic community. And then they retracted that apology.
That's right.
Because the outrage from the left. And so this really goes to show, even when their core audience, again, it's a very Latino-backed audience, their fan base, but the outrage from the left superseded the religious concerns from their Catholic fans. And so I covered this extensively.
Good. All right. I want to talk to you about that. We'll be back in a moment. Please contribute to PragerU at PragerU.com. Dennis Prager here. Thanks for listening to the Daily Dennis Prager Podcast. To hear the entire 3 hours of my radio show, commercial-free, every single day, become a member of Pragertopia. You'll also get access to 15 years' worth of archives, as well as the daily show prep. Subscribe at PragerTopia.com.